Hi guys, welcome back yet again to my channel for another couple of chapters of the Wild Robot Escapes. I look forward to reading your comments from my last video about what you look forward to or enjoy the most during summer. I'm obviously, as you can see with my Winnie the Pooh shirt, recording this video in the same day as I did yesterday's video. So I need to come up with some more questions for you as far as summer goes because it is summer and I don't know, it's a fun time of year. My question for you is, are you somebody who prefers to play outside in the heat during summer? Could be by the pool, it could be playing sports, or are you someone who prefers to spend your summer inside? You don't like that heat. You don't like getting sweaty. You don't like all the bugs. You prefer to maybe play video games or play with toys, or watch movie or TV inside. So what is it that you prefer to do in the summer? I have not been doing anything too fun as far as inside goes this summer yet. Yes, we are a month into our school district summer, but I've just been cleaning and organizing and trying to get rid of a lot of things that Mr. Keller and I don't need. Being an adult is not so fun all the time. But what I am excited about and happy about is being with you here right now, reading The Wild Robot Escapes. So without further ado, let's get into it. We are on chapter 7. Last time we learned that Roz remembers the language of the animals and was able to talk to the cows on her new dairy farm. So let's go ahead and read chapter 7. Chapter 7, The Robot Story. None of the cows could believe that this monster, this robot, this machine had just spoken to them in the animal language. They stared at her, nervously shifting in their stalls, wondering what she would do next. What Roz did next was simple. She told the truth. She stood in the middle of the barn and shared her story with the herd. I spent my first year of life on a remote wild island, Roz began. I did not know how I got there. I only knew that I wanted to survive. So I studied the island animals to see how they survived, and a surprising thing happened. Their sounds and movements started making sense to me. I was learning the language of the animals. Even when I could speak to them, the animals wanted nothing to do with me. But that changed when I discovered an orphaned gosling. The poor little thing would have died on his own, so I cared for him and adopted him as my son. His name is, do you remember his name? Bright Bill. A murmur spread through the herd. When the animals saw me caring for Bright Bill, they finally accepted me. I was no longer alone. I had friends and a family and a home. Life was good. Until the Recco robots arrived. They came in their sleek white airship to take me away, and when I resisted, they became violent. The animals defended me. They fought bravely and destroyed the Reccos. But I was badly damaged in the fighting. I needed repairs and I could not get them on the island. So the animals loaded my broken body into the airship and it took me far away from my home. Lily the calf poked her head through the railing and said, "What about Bright Bill?" "My son is smart and tough, and he has a good flock," said Roz. "I think he will be okay without me." "Where were you taken?" said Tess. "I was taken back to the factory where I was made. The factory is run by a crew of workers called the Makers. When I arrived, they put me in a room filled with other broken robots. Some robots were completely ruined. There's a picture of one of the makers. The makers immediately sent them away. But those of us with working computer brains were given a test. What kind of test? Said Lily. The makers simply asked us questions. They asked us how we became damaged. They asked how we would respond to different emergencies. They asked us to identify certain sounds and smells and objects. Robots who answered every question correctly were repaired. All others were destroyed. In the wilderness, I camouflaged my body to survive. In the robot factory, I camouflaged my personality to survive. I pretended to be a perfectly normal robot. I did not say that I had adopted a goose, or that I could speak with animals, or that I had resisted the Recos. I said what I had to say to pass the test, and it worked. Good for you, Roz, shouted Tess, and the other cows smiled. The makers shut me off, and when I awoke, my body was fixed and I was on this farm. Now, like all of you, I belong to Mr. Sharif. Cows stopped smiling. Everyone was quiet. And then old Annabelle spoke up. I was taken from my friends and family too, she said. They're back on the farm where I was born. I still think about them every day. It is difficult to be apart from our loved ones, said the robot. You know, Ross, things could be worse, said Tess. At least on this farm, you're still surrounded by nature. Yes, things could be worse. The robot's eyes brightened a little. But I am not safe here. If any human ever learns who I really am, they will have me destroyed. And that is why, when the time is right, I will try to escape. Chapter 8. The Computer. Inside the barn, the lights were low. The sounds were hushed. The night slowly wore on. A few cows were chewing hay, but most were resting peacefully. Our robot had returned to her corner. A soft glow on the computer screen lit up her face as she studied farming. She learned about the herd, about the pasture and the fields, about the native plants and wildlife, about the seasons and the climate and the weather, about the machines and the buildings and the fences and the tools and the dairy equipment. Every detail was perfectly remembered in the robot's computer brain. And in a single night, Roz became a farmer. We have enough time for one more chapter. Chapter 9, the first day. At dawn, the cows began to stir. One by one, they walked out the side door, across the muddy barnyard, and into the parlor for a quick milking before heading down to the pasture. They followed the same routine every morning like clockwork. However, on this morning, the cows were joined by a robot. With her computer brain full of farming knowledge, Roz was ready for her first day on the job. She stomped through the tall, wet grass, and her head slowly turned as she scanned the scenery. The sun was rising, the fog was lifting, the cows were grazing, and the whole world seemed to flip upside down. Before Roz knew what was happening, she was on her back looking up at the sky. A strong stench filled the air. Our robot had slipped on cow dung. The herd erupted into laughter. Tess called out, "Welcome to Hilltop Farm, Roz," which brought another round of snorts and moos. "You have to get used to the cow patties." And to laughter, said old Annabelle, strolling over. "Not much happens around here, so we're always eager to laugh." "I I understand, said Roz. I like laughing too. And she forced out an awkward ha, ha, ha. Then the robot stood up, wiped her feet, and continued exploring the farm. But she was more careful to watch where she stepped. The fields and buildings and fences were all in need of Roz's attention. But her most urgent task was to fix the broken farm machines. The herding machine was designed to roll through the pasture and look after the cows while they grazed. But it had gotten stuck in the mud and was becoming a popular hangout for birds. The field machine was gigantic, like a house on wheels. It was designed to roam the fields, planting and fertilizing and harvesting the feed crops. But it had ground to a halt weeks ago and was now just collecting dust in a far corner of the property. The drone was a small flying machine with a special camera attached to its underside. It was designed to fly above the farm and keep an eye on the whole place, but it came crashing down when a mob of crows attacked it mid-flight. Other broken machines were hidden within clumps of weeds, and still more were waiting for repairs in the shed. The peaceful morning was suddenly jolted by sounds of power tools as Roz began fixing machines. Thanks to her robotic strengths and smarts, she made excellent progress. The hours flew by, the machines rumbled back to life, and the farm began buzzing with activity. At sunset, Rambler came bouncing down the driveway with the Sharifs in the front and Oscar in the back. "How's it going, Roz?" said Mr. Sharif, leaning out his window. The children giggled and waved from their seats. The dog sniffed the breeze. "It is going well," said Roz in a robotic voice. "Many of the machines are working again." "I see that." Mr. Sharif gazed up at the drone, circling high overhead. "We thought we'd come out and check on you, but it looks like you're doing fine, so we'll stay out of your way. Keep up the good work, Roz." As the truck started rolling up the driveway, Oscar looked back at Roz and barked, "You smell like cow patties." He was right. The robot was filthy, and she finished her first day as a farmer by scrubbing herself with soap and water. We're going to continue tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed that today. I'm going to rest. As you probably could tell today, I'm a little tired. Not my best reading that I've done, so I apologize. But it's rainy, sky's dark, and it's time to take a rest. So you enjoy the rest of your day as well. Thank you for joining me for those chapters of the Wild Robot Escapes. I hope that you are safe. I hope that you have fun. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.